Which one do I choose? Okay, so before we get started, if you guys have a keen eye, you might have already seen the box in a previous video of which Vice that I got. But besides that, let's get started with this. I chose to go between Orange Vice, Kurt, and GMT, or Glasern Machine Tools. Those three companies. I know there's a lot more companies that create vices, but these are the three main ones that I chose. Some of the reasons are, Orange, I know it has a big social media push, as well as they seem to be building a pretty good quality product. There also is some advantages there with the way they engineered their vice to be able to come apart quickly, so I thought that was a nice thing to consider. Kurt, as I'm sure many people know, is it's a name brand that's been around for a while. You can see there since 1960. And then Glasern, they're more of a budget, lower end vice, but also I know they have some ties or some history with Orange Vice, if you guys look up their history and that interaction. But overall, I needed to buy a vice, so I needed something to have some kind of work holding. So if we keep going, I created some criteria to help me try and figure out, similar to the choosing of the machine, which vice to get. What I needed was, as you can see there, single station. I need at least a single station vice. I needed best cost versus functionality. I needed to maximize rigidity and repeatability. Also, with considerations to weight and material. I know some vice companies, they've made different types of jaws, whether it's aluminum or steel. So I just wanted to be knowledgeable about that. I also put in it, I wanted to be able to be side mounted. I wanted to be able to, if I had a tall workpiece, that I could turn the vise on the side and be able to still hold it. Size, larger is better. As some of you guys may know, on the Fadal VMC 15, which is the machine that I have, the bed is 25.5 by 16.5 or 16 inches. So I just wanted to be able to be aware of that, as well as I'm sure I have some extra clearance beyond that before I get to any of the walls of the enclosure. Maintenance, ideally I want something that's easily maintenanced. I can be able to take it apart or do whatever kind of maintenance I need to be able to get it cleaned up and put back together. Cost, it's previously stated before, but the lowest cost with the most performance is really what I'm looking for. Some extras that I think are nice to have, at least for me, starting off, is a double vice, or be able to convert to that. I know something that I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I know Orange Vice has the single that can be converted to a double. Additional accessories. This is something that I'm thinking of the future, trying to figure out if I can get a vice that, right now it seems to be a hobby, or might be, a very beginning of a business, if it becomes that, but something that I don't immediately govern or limit myself for future work. As well as I want to be able to positive reviews from others. I've been looking at reviews online from, different online shops, as well as, the forums and what people are saying and their experiences with the different vice companies, Orange, Kurt, and GMT. So you can see here, for each of these three companies, there are a number of vices that I looked at. You got 3 from Orange, we got 3 from Kurt, and we have 4 from Glasern. I tried to put all this information inside of this PowerPoint, but it was easier for me to use Excel, and so if I bring that page over, you can see here, we got Orange Vice, we got Kurt, and we got Glasern. So I'll go through each one of these first, and then we'll go through how I selected which ones to go after. All right, so starting off with Orange Vice. Their website, of course, is orangevice.com. The 3 models that I was looking at were their new 6-inch single station vise. There's 6-inch single station vise that can be converted to a double vise. You can see pictures here. So this one is one of the ones that they created a new one to help lower that price point. You can see here it's about $800 for this. This one cannot be converted like this one to a double vise. The single station vise that can be converted, this price starts at a little over $1,200. These prices too are the aluminum jaws, not the steel jaws. If you want the steel jaws, I think they'll cost another $400 extra on top of this. Same with this double vise. That starts off at $1,600 and goes up to $2,300, and then add another, I think, $400 onto there if you want the steel jaws. Dimensions here, so they're all pretty much the same. They got the 17.5, but then these two guys have a 16-inch version as well as the 20 and 26 inch. In regards to my statements earlier about the hardness and rigidity, for the steel jaws, they all have HRC 50 plus is what they call out on their website. For the aluminum, they put a hard anodized coating on their jaws there. One thing I do like about the orange vices is that they have this the Carve Smart little channel built in there, a little dovetail. That way you can easily just put a jaw in there and then clamp it down. That's one thing that really drew me to their vice, is because they kind of integrated some of this engineering and forethought of what how you would use the vice. So if we keep going down this chart, jaw distance, that's something I wanted to keep in mind of, as one more data point to compare between vice companies, is how close and far away can you get the jaws, trying to maximize my workability of workpieces. So these are all, I think, the same. So 8.1 of the inside of the hard jaws. This right here shows soft jaws on there, but they have hard jaws that you'd bolt on. And then 9.5 at the dovetail face. And then if you put the jaws on the outside, that's 17.5. So the full length of the vice. So if we keep going down, repeatability, they show 5/10 for all their vices. Going down, you can see that the double vice weighs the most, coming in at 130 pounds, then the single station vice at 80 pounds, and then the other lower price point single station vice at 69 pounds. I go into some more pros and cons for each one. These are very similar between all the vice companies. I just took these notes, during my decision process to try and figure out how to determine which vice is best for me at this point. Reversible jaws, this is pretty standard. These jaws right here are aluminum. The ones that are made out of aluminum are 7075, which is a pretty high grade aluminum. And then if we keep going down, lower cost is for this guy right here. That's a pro. One con though is that it can't be converted to a double vice if, say, business picks up and I need to have more work pieces going. Quick disassembly for really all of them. They can all be easily taken apart. They all have a singular sheet or collar that goes around the ball screw or the lead screw that helps keep chips from building up on that. I know that's one thing too. If you're not the best about cleaning out your machine, your vise, that they can get stuck in there. You can also notice too they have these cooling channels, or not cooling channels, but clearance channels, to where if you could get a hose in there, you could spray out the chips and whatever else is in there. Some final notes in regards to Orange Vice. They have in my opinion, one of the easiest websites to go between different options, select accessories to add on. It was really easy to use their website. And then in many forums, there are some people that bought these and never looked back. They previously had Kurt's or GMTs, and they like these a lot. So that was a good note. If we go on to Kurt, let me zoom in here. I compared the Kurt DX6, then the 6-inch Versatile lock vise, and then the 6-inch double vise that they have. You can see their model numbers here. So 3600V and then the HDL 6J. And I got links here, but you guys of course can't see that. Costs come in at, for the DX6, you got $655. Then we got for the one with the machine sides, you got $930. And then for the double vise, we got $2,113. Dimensions come in at, of course the double is the largest one, coming in at 21 and a quarter inch long. That will still fit on my table if I go sideways, in the X axis. I also got the both the DX6 and the 3600 are 17 inches long. The hardness, I don't know if I was able to ever get that, but I imagine it would be similar to the Orange vise, where it would be 50 plus. Jaw distance, these can all close, all the way down. So that's, minimum is 0, so they can all make contact. And then in regards to minimum inside, or I guess max, and the inside of the hard jaws, these I think are both the same. They're 6 inches, and then on the outside, 14 3/4 inches if you put the jaws on the outside of the vise. And then moving on, repeatability. These, just like the Orange vise, we got 5/10 across each one. Me, for it, starting off as a hobby, this is plenty good for me. So if we keep going into weight, we have 72.5 pounds for the DX6. We got 69 pounds, which maybe it's because it's shaved off some of the sides. And then we got 71 pounds for the double vise. Some notes between the pros and cons between these guys is that on the bottom of these all have the T slots, which is, I think, is pretty standard between vise companies, is that they have the T slots so you can fit right into the keyways on your table. One thing to note though is on the Fadals, I think it's a 9/16. It's not a standard key slot, so these can't work really with our machines if you're a fellow Fadal owner. Just one thing to note. And then they also have starter kits. I think this is also a pretty standard thing, where it comes with soft jaws, or you can buy soft jaws to add on to it. One thing I did note about this guy, about the HDL 6J, this double vise from Kurt, they didn't have any quantities or availability. You have to call them to check if it's available. So that's one thing I'd say a con, where I'd have to make contact with the company to first see if they have it for sale. If we keep going, the Sidewinder is one thing that's kind of a neat thing that they have. I don't have it pulled up now, but it's a little jaw that hooks onto here. It bolts onto where this jaw typically sits, and it has a little arm that comes up and kind of extends up to allow you to clamp onto taller workpieces. That was something that was a good note, in case I needed that in the future. And then Master Jaw Kit. This is similar to on the Orange vise, that comes with the dovetail built in. This is to where the jaw that has a dovetail in it, you could buy to add on to this. And then dovetail jaws to fit inside of that, they also sell those. One thing that sets Kurt apart from other companies is that they have this patented feature within their vise. So this has a little, say, half moon shape in here, which this swivels back and forth. When you put this jaw on, it'll swivel to make sure that the engagement on this locking, that nut, is always at 45 to maximize that force. Please excuse me, I need to take a drink. All right. So that was one thing I know that's patented. I also when I called each company, and this is one thing that Kurt had also brought up, saying, "Hey, we have this patent on this feature that maximizes the force in that direction." All right. So is there anything else? So it comes with a 3/4 inch wrench. I think that's typical between vice companies. It comes with a tool for you to help you clamp down. Manuals are available online. That's always a good thing. If say I lose the manual, or if I just want a PDF version, they already have them online for you to download. And then for the DX6, so this guy up here, this jaw is actually fixed. You don't see a line right there. So, but for this guy, or actually, is that switched up? Okay, so yeah, these guys are fixed. You can't take those guys off. And in a Sidewinder vise or a Sidewinder attachment, that's something that's good to allow you to, if you needed to, keep the vise where it's at, and then have. Actually, let me pull this up. Let me see here. I keep talking about it. Let's see here. Let's go to search Sidewinder. We'll just do Sidewinder Kurt. We'll go to images. So it's this guy. This is the Sidewinder I keep talking about. It's this little jaw that attaches to the vise, and it comes up and allows you to. Here's the clamper, the actual nut that you'd screw, and it clamps down on some workpiece that could be tall. You can see an example over here. So that's it in an actual manual mill. That's kind of neat. That's something that you could possibly say is a +1 for Kurt. Oh, and let me look up the master jaw kit too, since I'm here at Google. Master jaw. Let's look this up. So yeah, this is basically just similar to jaws that you'd screw into the vise. This is just where this would typically just clamp right into. Actually, you can see it here. There's the vise. You got the master jaw, and then the soft jaw. Okay, so I must be mistaken. I previously stated that this couldn't come off. Well, it looks like it can. So, might be. All right. So that is pretty much it for Kurt work holding. Moving on to GMT. Their website is glastern.com. So there's 4 main vices that I searched. During this search, I also found that they have this 6-inch modular vise. That looks like it's very similar, if you zoom in here, very similar to another company that I'm looking at, which is Orange Vise. This looks incredibly similar to another design. If you look up their history, they one of their members, I think they started off as GMT, and then one of the members broke off and created Orange Vise. Just a little short history lesson there. I found this on their website, but immediately discounted it out of my list because look at this price tag, $3,000 for this vise. I think Orange Vise, if we go back to their maximum price is $2,300. That's for the 26-inch. Which we could look at this one. How long is this guy? That's 20. So yeah, that's smaller vise, more expensive. I immediately just took that off the list because cost is one of my limiting factors that I want to be aware of. So, going down these 4 main options. They're all 6-inch premium or 6-inch vices. We got the standard milling vise. It's got everyone probably sees this on a manual machine. We got the premium vise that has the machine sides. We got the double vise. They actually have a Rev 1 and Rev 2. That's what they call it, the double, and then the deluxe double. But basically, they're the same design. I talked to them on the phone too. This is basically Rev 1, Rev 2, and there's really only I think a $200 dollar difference. So but they're essentially the same thing. There's a few, I think, upgrades on here. Similarly, you can see here, they have those flushing channels. Like compared on here, it's all solid down there on the side. These guys, you can flush chips out the side. I think there's other, upgrades on the inside that you can't see there. But going back up to the top, the manual milling vise, it's GSV 690. We got the GPV 615, GDV 620FE, and then the GDV 620DX. Coming in the costs, the lowest one, of course, is the standard one. That's $430. And as we go along, we get to 629, we get to 1100, and then 1300. They're fairly close in size. Actually, the manual milling vise is 19.21 inches long. So that's actually that's a couple inches longer than the premium vise here, which is a good thing. But there is that requirement that I have that I want to be able to side mount it, so that this may become something that's knocked out. But if we keep going on, the double vise, both of them really, are 20.5 inches long. And one thing I did note is no stick out. So the actual nut or the screw, the head of it is flush or below this back face, compared to this guy where it's sticking out. So that is a good thing, to where you could have it just know that this is the extent of that vise. You won't have to worry about trying to fit this on somewhere if you have other tooling or other instead of doors there. Just things to note. Jaw distances, you clamp all the way down. And then maximum size for apparently I don't have it on here. I would imagine it would be the full length of this, so about 19.2 inches. Maximum size for the premium vise is 15.1 inches. Then we go to 19.5 inches. This is with the jaws on the outside, to say you have a workpiece in the middle. And then same for the deluxe version, you have the 19.5. Clamping repeatability, these all said that they're 2/10. So even tighter. I don't know how you would quantify this. Maybe you go to a certain force and measure it, but I thought it was kind of weird, but I'll take it. That it's 3/10, tighter than Kurt and Orange, but I'll leave that there. I'm not going to be too critical of that, because it's still way tighter than I need as currently a hobbyist. Looking at the weight, both the single station vise come in at 81 pounds, and then both of the doubles come in at 120. This is like a tiny human. So going on to our pros and cons, all of these, of course, have the pro of cost. These are, a budget, I don't know if you'd call it entry-level vise, but it's something that you could definitely, lean on, because it's a, the cheapest one is $430. Now, I know there's probably, cost and quality that has to be balanced there, but something to take note of. All of these come with a chip guard. I don't know if I have it listed here. I don't know if it's this one or the $3,000 one, but similar to the orange one, where they have that shaft that goes over the screw, helps block chips from coming out. But these guys have the guard that fits in the middle that blocks chips from coming in. With the lower end vise, you also can get the swivel base. This allows this vise will bolt on top of it, here, and it'll allow it to swivel about the z-axis. So that's kind of neat. I don't know if I need that, but it's something to be cognizant of. Going down some other pros and cons. Minimum vise jaw distance. Okay, so if we were to take this center jaw out, these jaws actually don't go all the way in. That's something I thought about, is if I wanted to use it as a single vise, could I? Well, if I took that out, no. If I had a workpiece that was smaller than 2 3/4 inch. But if I could shove something in here on one side of the vise and then clamp my workpiece on the other piece on the other side, and that would work, and maybe that's acceptable. As I stated before, there's through holes on the Rev 2 of the double vise that makes it easier to clean out. Moving on, we have, so these all come with jaw plates. That's standard, a standard feature for really all vise companies. And then similarly, they all come with their accessories available on their website because this jaw distance right here, that bolt pattern, is a standard thing across vise companies. So that's, if I needed to, I could get something from anywhere really. One thing I did take note of is that GMT has pretty good videos of showing their vise coming apart and putting it back together. There is a few more parts compared to Orange Vise. They also have videos. Orange Vise is almost like NASCAR, where you take it apart and it's super fast and throw it all back together. Something that's really enticing for Orange Vise. But this is just a quick rundown of the features that I found and searched for on each of these different companies. So let's go back to the PowerPoint, and I'll show you what I did, how I determined what was best for me. So immediately I get rid of these two vices right here, and that's really because they can't be side mounted. As you guys saw before, that's one of my criteria. I want to be able to have something I could mount on its side. So that was more or less an easy decision. Going through, well, I got rid of this higher end Kurt vise because it's over 2K. I started to look at price, and that's definitely way outside of my price range. Moving along, I get rid of the lower end Orange Vise vise. This is really because that one only comes with aluminum jaws. And again, with one of my criteria, I want to be able to maximize my rigidity and repeatability. Now, again, prefacing it with it's a hobby right now. Maybe aluminum jaws are good enough, but if this becomes a business and I want to be able to make sure that I'm as rigid as possible, well, aluminum's I don't think is going to cut it. So going on, next up is I got rid of the Rev 1. So because these are essentially the same vise, it's just this one has a few more upgrades and it costs $200 extra. I thought that was a fair thing that, maybe I think it's worth the $200 more. At this point in my decision process is where I started getting to analysis paralysis. It started getting hard for me because you got some good, options right here. And I had to really figure out, okay, I want to plan for the future, but I also don't want to pay for it right now if I can't justify it. And so here is where I really liked the idea of having a double vise, whether it's this one from GMT or this one from Orange Vise. I love that idea because I could just, in the future, if things pick up, I'm already capable of doing whatever. But right now I'm not. And so this is where I had to make the hard decision to cut these two guys out because they right now are nice to haves. And one thing I help justify this is that this guy, this orange vise, the single station one, could be converted in the future. So here is where it started, getting cut down faster and faster. And the next one I cut, we got the orange vise, this single station one that can be converted to the double. We got the Kurt 3600 that, name brand. It's been around for a while. A lot of people have these and like them. And then we also have the GMT, which is more of a budget, similar, but not as, I don't know if it's not as well known. I know a lot of people have GMT vices. But the next one I cut out was the orange vice. So that was really just because of price, because I think this one comes in at $1,300. We got $1,300. We got $930 or $950, and then we got, I think, the $600 range. So really, all it started falling down quick because that was price, and then again, you guys probably guessed it, price again for the Kurt. It was a hard decision because I really like this orange vise, but I right now I can't justify it. Maybe in the future I can, but so as you guys can tell, this is the guy that I chose. This is what I got. I got it in the box. I still got to open it up. I've had it for a couple of weeks now, but it's a GPV 615. Part of this too was I read in a lot of the forums that although there's a lot of positive energy and social media presence from Orange Vice or other people pushing that, I also saw a lot of good reviews from people who had GMT. Now, of course, there's always going to be haters either way on either side of the aisle, but I saw some good reviews and some good feedback from people who have these vices. So it's the GPV 615, as I stated, and then it's a 6-inch premium vise, or at least that's what they call it. It's got the standard vice jaw bolt pattern, which means if I needed to, if I wanted to, I could buy the adapters from other companies. Say I like the Kurt, those master jaws. They come in aluminum as well as steel. I could just unbolt these, buy those, and bolt them on there. So I get the Kurt features without having to pay for the Kurt vise, as well as the Kurt Sidewinder. One thing I wouldn't know though is if I go back to this. Oh, let me go back. If you can see here, I don't know if these are rigid, these uprights, because they might work with the Kurt geometry. I don't know if these vices are the exact same height, so that's one thing I would be wary of. Is I don't know if I would have to adjust this or make some kind of adapter to fit the GMT vice. And overall, this is the best price versus functionality. Starting off, I don't want to be spending a lot of money if I can't justify it. Unfortunately, though, this is a vise that I can't convert to a double station. I might be able to create a little fixture to go in the middle. I know people do that to hold different pieces or work pieces, and it's I could do that. And then if business picks up, or if it becomes a business, then maybe I can justify whether a duplicate 6-inch vise here, or maybe I can justify getting the orange vise and making my dreams come true. So what's next? Well, first off, it's unboxing. You can see here it's still sitting there on my floor. Actually, I moved it out to the shop. This is inside my house, but I moved it out to the shop, and you've probably seen it in some of my previous videos where it's right by my workbench. It was actually holding some of my resolvers that were sitting on top. So first I got to do the unboxing. I'm going to make a separate video of just the unboxing of this vise, and then we're going to do some setup, and then finally, I know you guys have been really patient with me. We'll make some chips because we're going to get this set up. I got one other thing I need to do on the machine. I need to set up communications to be able to send programs to it. But besides that, we're almost ready to make chips. So with that, guys, thanks for following along. This has been a journey. This has been something that's been in the works for a while. Thanks for following along. If you haven't Subscribe to my channel, like this video, keep spreading the word, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.